Some of the polls show that even some of the supporters of the Parti québécois, some of the supporters of sovereignty, say that at this particular time it's not a good idea to have a referendum, that they don't want to see the battle unfold right at this moment. The idea of having a referendum is always on the table.
Partly because he's really setting that sovereignty issue aside. Now, he hasn't become a federalist. He doesn't necessarily believe in a united Canada.
We are numerous Quebecers of all origins who believe the incredible natural resources we have, plus our educated and creative population, should make us much richer.
Are Canadians in the rest of Canada supposed to just sit around waiting and throwing money at Quebec until they decide it's time, when they no longer want anything to do with us? I read this article recently which made me feel the same way I usually end up feeling whenever I read something with regard to this whole issue about Quebec, the PQ, and the state that Canadians find themselves in right now. Yes, Canadians. That categorical grouping called Canadians. It includes many variations of Canadians. There are the approximately 40% separatists in the province of Quebec who believe that the province of Quebec should be its own country. These folks are known and described in the article as the Péquiste base. They are a sizable group, but not enough to pull it off. The next group is perhaps a group ranging from 10 to 20%. These are the undecided French folks in the province of Quebec who could swing the vote either way. Many of them want an independent country, but are concerned about what that really means. Jobs, which incidentally were rigged into being exclusively for that group by a former Prime Minister of this country, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, who hijacked the system and planted the seeds for the inequity we are now seeing in this country. These folks realize that a new Canadian landscape with Quebec as its own separate country would likely see a huge resistance to official bilingualism outside the province of Quebec, and thus those minions risk losing those nice cushy federal jobs which they so dearly covet. Then we have the 50 to 60% French folks in the province of Quebec who want Quebec to stay as a province. I contend, and I'm pretty sure this could be verified, that this last group also contains a lot of French folk who would love nothing more than to have their own country, but either A, do not believe the province is ready for such a thing at this time, or B, realize that, as I said before, they could be caught up in the anti-bilingual sentiment, and they realize that the province on its own could not support the jobs that these people would need to survive. Let's face it, I believe most people understand that the province of Quebec would go through a pretty tough transition period if they were to separate, which could, in all fairness, however, see the province come out quite well at the other end, but it would no doubt be difficult for a while. Then, then we have the rest of Canada, the unilingual English-speaking Canadian people outside the province of Quebec. A group which has been putting up with the province of Quebec sucking us dry for so many years now while threatening the same old, "we'll separate if you don't give us what we want, so you better throw more power and money at us," type of attitude. Yes, this 80% English group makes up the majority of the remaining Canadian population, and let me tell you, this group is utterly fed up with this whole charade. They are fed up with being taken advantage of, and they are fed up with pandering to the group who is constantly demanding that this whole damn country learn French at great expense, while they, the powers that be in a predominantly French province, turn around and systematically outlaw the English language and diminish the English culture to the nth degree, while, in the process, treating the English people that still live in that province like lepers in their own country.
Now, a poll done for CBC News has found that 1 in 4 Anglophone Quebecers say they don't feel welcome in their own province.
So, I wonder aloud, who is speaking for them? Who writes the article that says, okay, the French are moving away from the PQ and planning on voting Liberal so they can continue to take advantage of the rest of Canada for another 10 to 20 years? Yes, another period of time where they can build up more of the province of Quebec in anticipation of that day when they finally decide they are wealthy enough and have built up the infrastructure enough in the province of Quebec that they can finally separate. Who writes the article that says we are fed up with paying for official bilingualism outside of Quebec in order to try and force every one of the majority 80% plus Canadians to learn French at the cost of billions of dollars per year, money which could go to better things like healthcare and so on? Yes, and who writes the article that says we are tired of being held for ransom while the French are the ones who decide if they want to stay and continue to take advantage of us while they build up the province of Quebec some more?
$10 million investment in a UK-based IT investment company, and British special effects company Cinesight says it will open its new studios in Montreal with a $1.2 million interest-free loan from Quebec.
Today, Quebec will be spending $173 million on a new campus.
Who writes the article that says the rest of Canada is no longer interested in spending billions of taxpayers' dollars trying to force every one of the 80% plus majority English-speaking people to learn French just to appease and accommodate the tiny 17.5% of the French population, who actually most of which live in the province of Quebec anyways? Who will it be among the hundreds of Canadian media personalities and personnel that writes the article that says, that's it, we've had it? Who writes the article that speaks for us, the rest of Canada, now, who wants a referendum on whether we really want to or need to continue to wait around as we throw more and more money into that province and into a failed bilingualism policy? A policy that basically makes jobs and positions more available for the French outside the province of Quebec as it diminishes and devalues the worth of the English people. Many no longer wish to sit back while the English-Canadian tax-paying citizens in the province of Quebec are treated as subhumans by a race of people that believe that if you're not French, then you don't deserve respect in any form.
Chez nous, c'est la même chose. C'est la même chose. Que ce soit chez vous, chez nous, ici au Québec, c'est français. C'est français! Non! Pardon, la fois que dans son nom, bon. Hey, toi, l'anglais, au bord.
Live in Quebec. So what? Here?
Speak French.
On the walls you see. It doesn't matter. It's French. Everyone.
Ouais, bah.
French boy.
I don't know, man. Just because he spoke English?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, racism.
Dunning tried to buy a day pass at the Atwater Metro on Monday and says 2 STM employees outright refused to serve him. But what upsets him the most is what happened when he called to complain.
I called the complaint department to file a complaint, and I got the same response. I said, we don't have to serve English people, and we're not taking your complaint, and they hung up.
Many no longer wish to subsidize this dream of everyone in Canada being so-called bilingual, while the French in the province of Quebec push for everyone there to be unilingual French only. Many no longer wish to subsidize the infrastructure of the province of Quebec while we wait for them to decide whether they want us around anymore or not. Many no longer wish to sit by and allow the most important positions in Canada's federal governments, provincial governments, the military, and increasingly more and more of the regular everyday Canadian jobs to become only available to that tiny 17.5% of the population that knows French. Many no longer wish to wait around any longer. Many now want to be the ones to decide. It is us that want a referendum on whether we want them to stay as part of Canada. The table has turned, and we are now the ones that are fed up. We, the rest of Canada, are taking that power. We are taking it upon ourselves to decide. No more waiting around while they build up enough strength to do what they constantly tell us they're going to eventually do anyways. We want a referendum now. It's time we speak for ourselves.